you're making being the Manchester United manager look very easy. How proud were you of that performance?
Yeah, massively proud. I think it was different to last week. Two very different games. I said that to you before the game. It was going to be different today, and they put us under a lot of pressure in different ways, and we never probably had as much genuine regular threat as we did last week within the game. But I thought there was periods when we did look really dangerous, and to come here and to score 3 goals, and in the manner we did, with it going 1 down and coming back, and then the setback, and then keep going, and Mateus with a huge moment for us, and the boys had to put an awful lot in today. It probably didn't come as easy as it wasn't easy last week, but I mean the flow of the game and the momentum was with us pretty much the whole time. This one we had to dig deep, and it was a massive effort, and I'm really proud of them.
So after 20 minutes, half an hour, how did you start to turn the flow of that match?
We understood the start of the game was going to be a little bit like that, as much as we tried to turn the momentum in our favour. I think we understood how the game was going to go and the flow of it, and I thought we started to take the ball and connections through the pitch, and had that composure, and a few moments probably gaining a bit of confidence as well, which is understandable, and actually probably we were having a decent spell, and we just seemed to have come into the game when they scored, and which was disappointing, but again showed the character to come back. And there were stages in the game we had to defend, they make you defend the box really, and it's challenging at times, but I thought we had definitely enough in the game to keep believing in the confidence, and always fancied us to score.
In terms of game plan and maybe where the spaces were, I know you said it's obviously different to last week, different type of game, but can you talk us through that, how it was different?
That's different in so many ways. I think the whole atmosphere last week and from the start, and kind of you ride that wave, and emotionally you're kind of on a constant high in some ways. Today, obviously coming away, we had to kind of create our own energy between us, and the away fans in the corner were incredible. So there's that element, playing away from home, and understanding the kind of the phases of the game, really, how it's going to develop, and being patient when you got to, and being disciplined at the right time, and I thought we took the ball at times really well, and played forward, and really positive, and got the rewards from it.
You're starting to see some really good connections within the team. Look in midfield with Casemiro and Mainu. The 2 wide guys, the way they could connect and help their fullbacks as well, that was key last week. Would you say key again today? Yeah,
definitely. There was all sorts of little connections throughout the pitch. I think partnerships and units that was really strong, and it's been 10 days, so it was never going to be perfect, and we couldn't expect to come here and all of a sudden dominate the whole game and the ball, and we're just starting off really, and so it's a great starting point, but we need to put some layers on top really, and we'll try to do that in the coming weeks.
How have you done this, Michael? It looks and feels a team and a club transformed at the moment.
Yeah, I'll give a lot of credit to the staff and the players, I have to say, in terms of how much they've invested, and how much they've bought into it, and it's all right trying to help them and say certain things, but they got to live it, and they have done. I think you've seen that, boys coming off the bench making a difference, and so it's a real collective feeling, and it's great when it comes together and everyone's in it, and we can celebrate with the fans at the end. I think it's important, and it's a big moment, and my kids were in there. They're not so kids anymore, but they were in there. So
they were in the away end, were they?
In the away end. So even that in itself, is it's emotional. It's the passion, it's the excitement of these type of games, and to come out on top's fantastic.
Did you have a moment? Did you, when you were looking? I saw you were in the corner, obviously, to thank the fans. Did you spot your kids?
Yeah, I seen them.
Just a little bit of eye contact.
Yeah, no, I seen them. Yeah, it's nice. They were going as crazy as everybody else, and it should be like that. We won't always celebrate, obviously, with respect to Arsenal, and we're in their stadium, but I think when you have a result like that, I think it's only right we go and appreciate the supporters, and we certainly did that.
Yeah, and it's worth remembering, you're not just a Manchester United manager, former player, you're a fan, season ticket holder.
Yeah, I am.
Well, I guess
there's 2 sides of it. There's obviously the emotion of that, and then, like I said, from day one, I'm here to do a job really, and make the team as best as we can, and to have that connection 2 ways is special.
Everyone's going to get giddy. I'm sure you won't, but are you starting to see You said from the brilliant performances you had, you can already see layers you can add to it. So are you starting to see a long-term project you can get your teeth into here?
It's not that I'm starting to see. I think coming here less than 2 weeks ago, I said we'd make every decision for the greater the good and the bigger picture for the football club, and my job's to try and keep improving the team and keep adding to it and not getting carried away with two massive results, two huge results and big performances, and it's always about what's next that really matters, and keep our feet on the ground and keep doing the right things this week.
Would you like to do it beyond this season?
Listen, I'm enjoying it. It's a fantastic position to be in. What happens next is I'm not going to be answering it every week because it is what it is. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying it, and I'll continue to do what I can.
Well done.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Firstly, what are your emotions after that?
Well, first of all, you have to congratulate Man United for the victory. It happened in a really strange way, to be fair, because we were very dominant in the first half an hour, scored the goal, had another 2 brilliant chances to score, and then we gave them the goal, which is very unusual from our side, and that changes and shifted the momentum and the energy a little bit. After that, we dropped the standard, especially with things that we have to do much better with the ball, and the game wasn't in that much control. And then they had 2 magic moments. I mean, the 2 goals that they scored from Dorku and Cunha, credit to them, because in big games you need those moments. And we were carrying a little bit of that negativity a little bit and the lack of fluidity that we needed. But we made the changes, we created some momentum, scored the 2-2, and you could feel game on. Everything changed immediately. The next action on is 1-against-1 in the 6-yard box. We expect, okay, we're gonna get from there. It goes to a goal kick, they close the structure, 1 long ball, 1 pass, and Cunha scores and changes again the momentum and the shift of the ball. So a really painful one. But it's now time to be very, very close to those players that are giving us so much joy, performances, and it's time to be very, very close to them and support them, because we all want to win.
So from 1-0, and as you say, control of the match, I don't think anyone would dispute that. Can you tell us in what areas the standards dropped?
Well, especially with the ball, with simple things. Every time we regain the ball, what we did with that ball after regaining it, certain clearances that stretch us on the pitch. And it's a team that the moment they have a space and the ball lands, especially to certain players, they are very dangerous, and we knew that. So yeah, we have to learn from it. Defeats are part of winning, and you have to take them like this because they need to be reminded how good they are.
Is that almost your message to the supporters as much as anything? The players need you now.
I don't have to do that, because they know. We need them in any moment. Is when we don't win. After it's easy, but when we draw or when we don't win or lose a game, that's the moment that we have to show really the togetherness, the unity, the energy that we're going to put it to get where we want, and defeats are part of that for us and for any team.
Do you think from 1-0 it got tentative, it got nervous? Do you think it was the weight of what you're trying to achieve that affected maybe the atmosphere and certainly the performance?
I wouldn't use that word, because we played in Stamford Bridge in the semi-final. We were brilliant against Inter, one of the best teams in Europe. We were brilliant, but sometimes you don't have that day, and we don't have that day. We have to do the simple things much better than we've done today. And on top of that, when you look at the goals and the goal that Dorku scored from there, with that angle, someone chasing the top corner, because the only place he can put it, sometimes you have to give credit to the opponent as well.
Yeah, obviously we can, over my shoulder right now, you can see that second goal. Yeah. Handball?
I haven't looked at it. It's fine. It's gone, and we can do nothing about it.
Do you think how you react to this as a team, maybe even as a club, is going to define if you have the season you want to have and achieve what you want to achieve?
But we have to do what especially the players deserve, which is to be very close to them and remind them every day how good they are and how much joy we have in next to them. And that's exactly that. And I take responsibility for everything, and we move on, and in 3 days we have another game.
Is there anything, maybe you don't think they need this, but do you feel like they need freeing up, and is there anything you can do to help them with that, whether it's tactical or whether it's emotional?
I don't think so. I think they're free. I mean, 3 days ago, how free and fluent they looked in Milan, it was unbelievable. So no excuses. We accept the defeat, you congratulate the opponent, and we move forward.
Still top of the league.
Thank you.
Mikel Arteta's work at Arsenal is being viewed in an even brighter light after the recent coaching shakeups elsewhere. With Chelsea parting ways with Enzo Maresca and Manchester United moving on from Ruben Amorim, the contrast is hard to miss. Arsenal has kept moving forward under Arteta, giving him time through difficult stretches, and now seeing the payoff as the club pushes again in the Premier League title race. It also raises a bigger question about strategy. While Chelsea and United are changing direction again, Arteta has been in place for more than 6 years, outlasting a long list of managers across those two clubs in that span. That stability has become part of the story, and it was a major talking point on the Seeing Red podcast with Tom Canton and John Cross. Beyond reacting to Amorim's dismissal and breaking down wins over Aston Villa and Bournemouth, plus Manchester City's loss to Chelsea, the conversation kept returning to one core idea: structure. Not just who is the coach, but how much power that coach has, and whether the club is built to support a long-term project. Cross pointed to Arsenal as a rare example of patience turning into real strength. He argued that Arsenal's willingness to back Arteta through the messy early phases helped create the stable position they're in now, and that this kind of time and support investment is what can turn a club into something truly solid. Canton's response was sharp and honest. Arteta's arc, he said, has almost become a problem for other clubs, because it tempts them to keep coaches they probably shouldn't. But at the same time, it's still the best example of what can happen when you hire the right person and actually give them time. And that time wasn't smooth. The discussion highlighted how Arsenal could easily have pulled the plug early. 2 8th-place finishes, then 5th, missing out on the Champions League, and a Europa League semi-final exit to Unai Emery's Villarreal. Any of those moments could have pushed a club into panic mode. Instead, the argument is that Arsenal recognized the bigger reality. Arteta didn't have the resources to compete at the required level right away. The squad needed a rebuild. The roster needed to be refreshed. That's where the comparison to Chelsea and United becomes even more pointed. The podcast suggested that recruitment and decision-making structure are often what determine whether a coach survives. If signings don't land, results suffer. And if a coach doesn't have enough influence, or the club isn't aligned behind a clear plan, it becomes much easier for things to collapse. In other words, giving time only works if the coach is empowered to shape the team in a way that matches the vision. Cross also emphasized that Arteta's situation stood out because he pushed to be a true manager, not just a head coach. The idea is simple. Top coaches want a real say in the build, and they want the club to match what they were promised when they took the job. The discussion even pointed to how Arteta survived a low moment, like the home loss to Burnley, because the club stayed behind him. And in that period, with fan pressure affected by the COVID-era environment, Arsenal were able to hold their nerve instead of reacting emotionally. Meanwhile, the big unknowns now shift back to Chelsea and Manchester United. Who replaces Amorim? And how will the next chapter look at Chelsea? The answers may come sooner than people expect. But for Arsenal, the reality stays the same. They're stable, they're moving forward, and they're still in the title chase, while others are starting over again. And that contrast can shape how people judge every manager in the league. Because when two massive clubs hit the reset button again, it forces the same question Cross raised on the show. Is the quick switch actually fixing the problem, or just delaying the real work? The bigger takeaway from the discussion is that time isn't a magic solution by itself. It only becomes valuable when the club's structure supports the plan, and when the coach has the influence to push the squad in the direction he believes it needs to go. That's why the distinction between head coach and manager kept coming up. The podcast point is that if a coach is expected to own the results, he usually wants a meaningful say in the decisions that shape those results. And if he doesn't get that, patience alone won't save him. That's also where Arteta's early struggles get reframed. Those finishes and setbacks could have become a reason to panic. Instead, they became evidence of why alignment matters, because Arsenal chose to treat them as part of a build, not a final verdict. And once the squad was reshaped the way the club believed it needed to be, the results started to reflect that long-term approach. So the repercussions aren't just about Arsenal looking stable, it's about how stability changes your margin for error. When you don't reset every year, You're not constantly starting from zero. You're building on decisions, learning from setbacks, and keeping a clearer identity. For Chelsea and Manchester United, the immediate consequence is obvious. They're changing direction again, which means the next appointment carries even more weight. Because every new coach isn't just judged on results. He's judged on whether the club is finally giving him the structure and authority that the role demands. That's why the question at the end matters so much. Who will replace Amorim, and how will Liam Rosenior do at Chelsea? Because those answers will test the exact theme the show kept returning to. Time, support, structure, and control. And for Arsenal, it's a different kind of pressure. Stability doesn't guarantee trophies, but it does keep you in the fight longer. And right now, while others restart, Arsenal get to stay focused on what they're already doing, chasing the Premier League title.